Hello, YouTube. This is Amisbro. How we doing today? It is about 8:20 in the morning. I have been up since about 8 o'clock last night because I had to get ready to watch the big show that took place at the Tokyo Dome, which was Wrestle Kingdom 12. And this is my first time, and it won't be my last, watching a Wrestle Kingdom live using New Japan World. So, I'm going to give you a little breakdown, just for those of you who are curious. The show started at about, I want to say about 2 a.m. our time. So, I've been watching for about 5 or 6 hours. Technically 7, because I actually started watching around about 1:13 in the morning. So 2 o'clock in the morning, they got to do the, around 2 o'clock, they got to do the Rumble. They did the Rumble, and I'm going to go through all the winners. I'm going to try and give some of the thoughts of matches like I used to do in the past. The pay-per-view ran for about, let's see, from about 2 o'clock to about now. So it was about, almost about 6 hours. So if I don't remember everything, I apologize. But I'm going to do my best to give an encapsulated review of a 6-hour wrestling pay-per-view. I'm going to say is I actually put up a picture on Twitter of what the arena looks like when they're doing the pre-show. It is still one of the most breathtaking sights I have ever seen in my life. Listen, we have arenas which are bigger than the Tokyo Dome, seating capacity-wise. I know that. But what I'm going to tell you is that there is going to be nothing that compares to being able to see the Tokyo Dome in all of its glory. The only thing that could compare to it is actually being there. The first match was the pre-show match, and it was the New Japan Rumble. I cannot remember every friggin' wrestler that was in it. I will tell you, however, that the winner was an individual named Masahito Kakihara. And it was interesting because when he came out, one of the announcers, and you have to remember there's like 2 different announce teams. So one of the announcers from one of the announce teams actually stood up and took off his jacket when he saw the, and then when he saw the individual make his way to the ring, he sat back down and put his jacket back on. But it was so surreal because, like, to see the announcer literally stand up and take his jacket off, I thought it was him going into the ring. I would have been like, oh, that would have been funny as hell. But no, it was Kakihara who eventually went on to win it. I believe he pinned, yeah, he actually did. He pinned Cheeseburger, who was involved in it. You had Cheeseburger, Satoshi Kojima, Yoshihashi, you had Hiroyoshi Tenzan, you had a lot of different wrestlers. I always forget the exact number of wrestlers they used for the Rumble. By the way, one exception to the rule that they use for their Rumble versus ours, the Royal Rumble, you must be eliminated by being thrown over the top rope. Here, that can happen, a pinfall or a submission. So, there's that to think about. As I mentioned, Kakihara won the Rumble. Then we get to the main show. If you were a champion, it sucked to be you for most of the night. Because almost every title changed hands. Save the top 3. IWGP Junior Tag titles. Roppongi Vice took on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. By the way, Roppongi, I shouldn't say Roppongi Vice, I meant Roppongi 3K, which is Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu, or now known as just Sho and Yo. Can I just say one thing when it comes to tag teams? Can you all find some way to differentiate yourself so I don't know, so I can not be confused who the frig is which? Unfortunately, when it came to Sho, and by the way, I'm not just talking about your tights, like this. Hold on if I can do it. Like this. I mean, actually find a way to differentiate yourself, because I literally was confused who was in the ring 3/4 of the match. However, the Young Bucks ended up winning the titles and was the first successful challengers. They won by submission, actually. It involved a Meltzer driver followed by a Scorpion Deathlock on one of the members of Roppongi 3K. Roppongi 3K, by the way, for those of you who aren't aware, is managed by Rocky Romero. His former partner from Roppongi Vice, Ferreira, is a part of Chaos. We'll get to that next, actually, because he's in the next match. Gauntlet match for the never cruiserweight, open weight 6-man titles. I've been up for 7 hours. Forgive me. You had the Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Tomatonga, and Tongaloa. They were the champions. Chaos, Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano. Michael versus Michael L. and War Machines, Hansen and Raymond Rowe. Do you remember what I was saying about find a way to differentiate yourself? Even though they would look different, War Machine guys, I couldn't tell which one was which. Now, maybe that would have helped if I watched the English commentary, but I legitimately could not tell them apart. I will say this, I was very impressed by seeing them as far as a team, because I've only heard the name War Machine. I've never actually seen them wrestle before. So to get to see them wrestle for the first time, it was a pleasure. And I do like, and I'm going to say this, I like, cruiserweights or smaller wrestlers, but I also have a very deep appreciation for big, burly, tough, strong men, powerhouse wrestlers. And that's what I got with War Machine. That is a fact. We also had Suzuki-gun, Taichi, Takashi Izuka, and Zack Sabre Jr. We also had Taguchi Japan, Ryosuke Taguchi, Juice Robinson, and Togi Makabe. So we had the Stone Pitbull and the Unchained Gorilla in one match. God. I wish the rules were different and we could have found some way to have all the teams involved, so I could have gotten those two together. Because, man, anybody who knows me knows when I watch Never matches, and Never singles matches, when it comes to those two, they were special. Those were matches that you just watched them beat the hell out of each other for 20 and 30 minutes, and you just were amazed because every pinfall, Anywho, your winners were Chaos, Beretta, Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano by pinfall. And they won with an Amore driver. They ended up facing a member of the... They were facing the Bullet Club, and I forget, it was either Tonga or Tongaloa. I forget which one it was that took the pinfall. But it was a very good... It was a very interesting match to watch because I haven't seen many Gauntlet matches. And to see this for the first time, it was unique because usually you see the champion start and they have to go through the Gauntlet. They did it differently here. The champion got the privilege to go in last. But that didn't necessarily mean they were going to win it. So that made for a very interesting dynamic when you watched the match, because you didn't know who was going to win. You legitimately didn't. Was I rooting for the Bullet Club? I can't say I was, but I can't say I was rooting against them. I'm actually going to tell you this. In at least one match, which we all pretty much have an idea probably what it was, I wasn't rooting against the Bullet Club. And we're going to talk about that match. I'm going to actually put that match off to the side. We're going to talk about that separately from the rest of the matches. I'm going to talk about that match last because I have some things I want to say about it. So, Gauntlet match, winners were Chaos, Barada Tomohiro Ishii, and Toru Yano. That was the second title change of the night. Third match was Cody Rhodes with Brandy Rhodes versus Kota Ibushi. I haven't seen Kota Ibushi wrestle in forever. God, I forgot how talented that man was. Dude! Like, him and Cody legitimately put on one of the best matches that wasn't for a belt that I saw. And I thoroughly enjoyed seeing it happen. Kota won with his Phoenix Splash. He took one of the sickest bumps, and there was a couple sick ones in the night. One comes in the Fatal 4-Way, which we're going to talk about in a bit. And he took the Crossroads from the apron, and when I first saw it in all speed, I thought he cleared the mat and hit the ramp. No. Mercifully, he didn't. He went from the ring apron, and he narrowly missed it. Like, if you see it in slow motion, and there was enough replays through the night, he probably missed it by about that much. And that would have been pretty bad for him, because remember, he's coming back from having neck surgery at one point. So, to take moves like that. And he also took, if I remember correctly, I think he took a DDT on the concrete at one point. I could be wrong now. Excellent match though. Kota Ibushi won. And by the way, there was even a really clever moment when Brandy Rhodes, who wasn't in the match, as far as she did get involved a little bit, but she didn't really get overly involved, which is good. You want a manager to get involved, but don't let them get so involved that they become the match. And I think sometimes that happens a little too much. But she had a very interesting moment where she kind of played possum, and she had that little sly smile with Cody, and it was cute. IWGP Tag Title match. Killer Elite Squad, Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer versus Los Ingobernables de Japan, Evil and Sonata. If you've never seen Killer Elite Squad wrestle before, never, you owe it to yourself to watch these guys. Because as wrestlers, they are amazing wrestlers, but they're also very amazing characters, which is something that wrestling, New Japan wrestling, seems to always get right. Like with Los Ingobernables, you've got Evil and Sonata, and Evil's character is kind of literally looking like a Grim Reaper. It's freaking brilliant. Like, dude, he plays a better Undertaker than the friggin' Undertaker we had in WWE. I'm sorry, he just does. So, to get to see him is a treat, and it's my first time seeing him in a while, because I think I saw him, I want to say I saw him at Wrestle Kingdom 10, which was my last one that I watched, which was my last New Japan show that I covered before, at the time, professional wrestling was considered advertiser unfriendly, which has since been overturned, which is one of the reasons why I didn't do the reviews and why they were actually deleted for a time. But now we're back on it. The Killer Elite Squad, Lance Archer, didn't he wrestle in So somebody let me know this in the comments, because I need to know this. Did Lance Archer wrestle in WWE? The name sounds familiar for some reason. But his gimmick that he uses here, my God, he was seriously nuts the whole show, the whole match. I loved it. I was like, I was nerding out. I was geeking out. I love his character. I didn't really have a favorite of who I wanted to see win this. However, Los Ingobernables de Japan, Evil and Sonata did win by pinfall. Moonsault from Sonata onto Davey Boy Smith Jr. The next match is a very interesting one because it had a very interesting setup. Hair versus hair match. Never openweight title. Suzuki-gun and Chaos were barred from ringside. This actually plays into the match though. Minoru Suzuki, was the champion, taking on Hiroki Goto. By the way, if you haven't noticed, we haven't retained a title yet. We haven't, and we're still not going to here. The rules were, like I said, the loser gets his head shaved, and both factions were barred from ringside. Well, this didn't last long. Towards the end of the match, Suzuki-gun comes to the ring because they figure that their leader's in jeopardy. So the young boys, the young lions, they start trying to block them off, and they do successfully for the most part. And then of course Chaos comes out to try to, pull them back. So you had that dynamic. Now, originally I thought this. Since technically speaking, they were coming to ringside, wouldn't that warrant a disqualification? Because technically speaking, they broke the rule first. But I guess since they didn't actually enter ringside, that's why they didn't get disqualified. Because I was thinking about that during other matches, and I was like, okay, that's why I didn't. But it was an interesting thing to see. It was also interesting. So, Goto wins the match. And he wins it with what I call a final cut leg maneuver. I didn't get to see the Koten Tai, which is one of my favorite moves that he uses. He did use Ushigoroshi, which is that DVD where you land your opponent's head on your knee, for those who don't know. It's a move that WWE has started to really incorporate, which they should just, play in their own yard, but whatever. Goto wins the belt. Okay, fine. So now, they bring the chair in for Suzuki to sit in so he can get his head shaved. What does Suzuki do? He goes out, grabs a chair, throws that into the ring. Well, actually, he doesn't throw it in the ring. He brings a chair into the ring, bats the chair that was sitting there out of the ring, which was curious, unfolds the chair, sits it down. Now you're thinking, like I would, well, okay, he's going to start to do the stipulation, and then Suzuki-gun's going to come in and beat the shit out of Goto. No, here's what actually happens. He puts the chair in the ring, grabs the buzzers from Goto, and shaves the back of his head. Takes the hair and puts it in, and slams it in the chair. So he did live up to the stipulation. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it amazing how when people sign contracts in Japan and they say that they're going to have this stipulation, by God, they actually live up to it. What a novel concept. And by the way, he, by proxy, Suzuki, is the heel. So you would think that the heel would find some way to chicken out of it. No. He took his medicine, put the chair in the ring, grabbed the buzzers, shaved his own head, put the clump of hair in the chair, walked out. He fulfilled the contract. My mind was friggin' blown. Mikoto wins the title, and you know what I want to see when we get the New Japan Cup, which is, I believe, I think I looked at the schedule, I think it's in March. I want to see him in the New Japan Cup. I want to see him win it. I want to see him challenge for the fucking belt. And I want to see him beat whoever's the champion, which in this case may be Okada, because I'm trying to figure out who the hell they're going to have beat him at this point. Anywho, that's that match. Goto won, and I loved the match. I did. I loved the match, even if I was a little curious about the whole thing about being about the boring of ringside when it seemed like it still happened. But what are you going to do? Fatal 4-way match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Marty Scurll was the reigning champion. He defended against Hiromu Takahashi, Kushida, and Will Ospreay. A lot of people are going to say that Omega versus Jericho was probably the match of the night. They're not necessarily wrong, but there were things they did in that match that I really could have done without. This match was closer to perfection for me, and I know a lot of people, when they look at the junior heavyweight division, they're not the big fan of the acrobats and the acrobatics and how it seems to be a stunt show and all this. I get that, where it seems like a lot of spots are more choreographed than anything. I respect the people who cannot take that style of wrestling. Because remember, I'm sitting here, I put over War Machine, I'll put over War Machine, I'll put over Michael Elgin, I'll put over, even if I'm watching WWE, Braun Strowman. But this match, no matter what people are going to say, there's still an art to what the junior heavyweights do. What we had here was 4 wrestlers that put on, in my mind, one of the best clinics as far as how to do the high spot. Even if they look choreographed as all hell, forget that. They were amazing in what they did. And I'm going to say this. I openly was rooting for a wrestler. Now, you would think that because I did that, because I sort of did that with the Omega match, well, I openly did that with the Omega match, that would sort of detract from my enjoyment of the match. No, because even if he didn't win, and he didn't, it still was a very enjoyable match for everything else that was involved in it, because it was a complete package. You had Marty Scurll, the villain, who, if he ever gets a chance to wrestle for the IWGP title, and if he ever wins the damn thing, New Japan should strap the rocket to him and let him go with it as a heel for like 2 years. Because what I'm going to tell you is that guy has something in him that needs to be utilized to its fullest. If he ever gave up Ring of Honor full time and just went to New Japan, he is a gift. But so is one of the other wrestlers I'm going to talk about, Hiromu Takahashi. This was the wrestler I openly rooted for. There is something about his gimmick. Now, mind you, I don't know a lot about Takahashi. This is my first time really seeing him. The dude comes out in a jacket and a coat. It's got, neon fringe. His hair's normal. He's got in his teeth a stuffed animal. I bullshit you not, a stuffed animal. He's got on, pants, and he's got on fuzzy boots and stuff. He is, I swear to God, if he was in WWE right now, in WWE they kind of want you to speak English a little bit. If he could master the English language and he was in WWE, fuck, Vince would have a field day with him. This dude is the quintessential character if you like characters, and I do to a degree, that you can root for, because there's something about him that just makes you go, I'm rooting for you. And I was rooting for him the entire match. Now, there was a couple things that were kind of hokey, like, okay, yes, Skrull did his finger breaking gimmick. He got it done back to him he got double whammied on it later in the match, but it was so amazing to see. He decided, he got out athletic tape. He took Takahashi and taped his arm, legitimately, taped his arm to the one of the guardrails. Because remember, in New Japan, they don't use the safety barriers; they use actual old school safety rails. He did it, and I'm thinking, well, my guy's out. Nope. He eventually came back into the match, and I swear to you, I thought a couple times he had the match won. Sadly, my guy didn't win. Will Ospreay won with the Oz Cutter on Marty Scurll. It was a brilliant match. It was a great match. And honest to God, was my match of the night. Next match. IWGP Intercontinental title. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, versus Jay White. AKA, I believe they call him now Switchblade. Jay White. Jay Blade. Listen to me. Like I said, I've been up, for 7 hours. Actually 12. Jay White, I remember watching when I first watched New Japan for my first year back in 2009. And I saw him, much like I saw Sho and Yo, or was it Yo and Sho? Oh, Yohei Komatsu and Sho Tanaka. There we go. I saw those three, and I said to myself, they have something. Each one of them is going to be something someday. Now, Sho and Yo, Yohei Komatsu and Sho Tanaka, became Roppongi 3K. And of course, now Jay White became Switchblade. They told a story in this match, which was an interesting one. It was how Jay was going for the leg on Tanahashi. Tanahashi said, "Fuck this." So what did he do? He went back at him. It was interesting enough, the same kind of thing that happened in the Fatal 4-Way when Skrull was doing the finger breaking gimmick, and then he got done back to him by two of the wrestlers. So, and it was Ospreay and Kushida that did it to him. So, you think about those stories that ended up happening in those matches, and they were so well done that even if you thought you pretty much knew what the outcome was going to be, there was still that glimmer of doubt that made you think, well, we've been having title changes all night. Why not another one? Nope. Hiroshi Tanahashi wins with the Sky High Flow. But believe me, there was enough doubt in that match that made you think he was going to lose. We're not going to talk the U.S. title match yet. We're saving that for last. There's a reason I'm doing it, because I have a lot of things I want to say about it. The main event was the IWGP Heavyweight title, Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. Okada did win with the Rainmaker. I will say this to you. If New Japan is really invested in Naito and invested in his character, now they gave him the Intercontinental title to run with. At some point, they need to seriously consider putting the big title, the IWGP heavyweight title, on him. And they need to consider making him a focal point of the company. Not that he isn't already, because Los Ingobernables, I know I just butchered that, I apologize. They're one of the big factions right now. They're sort of taking over, it seems like, the spot that Bullet Club had. Like, Bullet Club is still a big deal in New Japan, but I think you can have more than one main focus. To use Uwgp, for those of you who have watched it, that are in this audience, yes, you've got Starish, but then you have the other two groups. But you also need to figure out a way to make them not marginalized. New Japan did that. New Japan figured out how, well, we have Bullet Club, but now we have Suzuki come back, and we've got this group, Los Ingobernables de Japan. Let's make sure that fans know they're important groups too. And they have. Because, I mean, we'll just look at it. Evil and Sonata went on to win World Tag League last year, and now they're the IWGP Tag Team Champions. So, they've got plans for them. You know, and Suzuki Gun, we haven't heard the last of them. Believe me when I tell you, we haven't heard the last of them. Because they're going to be a force in the days, weeks, months, years to come. If they go away, well, there'll just be another faction. There's still chaos around. Ain't no shame. Believe me when I tell you. Because look at Chaos. Chaos has both never champions. They have the 6-man and they have the singles. Yeah, New Japan still thinks highly of Chaos. And they have, of course, the heavyweight champion in Okada, who seems to be virtually invincible at this point. I mean, Okada's this wrestler. When you look at like his run that he goes through, it almost seems, how do I explain it? It almost seems old school, as if you're thinking some way in the vein of Bruno Sammartino. A guy who could hold on to that title for years before he finally gives it up. But the person he's going to give it up to is going to be the guy that New Japan sees as the next big thing. Now, who's that going to be? Could it be Kenny Omega? Well, Kenny Omega right now has the US title. And he's going to make that belt very important. And now since I brought up Kenny, shall we talk about that match? And by the way, in case I haven't mentioned, Okada did win with the Rainmaker. It was a great match. It was a match where I thought, there was a couple times I thought, uh-oh, the Invincible Man finally lost it. Nope. Kept the title. And now, like I said, Okada moves on to his next challenge, which will be determined at the New Year's Dash, which I'm going to explain how we're going to cover that and some of the shows coming up in the near future. So, now we are going to talk about the United States title match. This match was deemed no disqualification. However, because of that, there was still, even with that, there was still countouts. This match had the feel of two guys that legitimately did not like the other one. This also had the feel, in many respects, at least for me, and I don't know how other people on Twitter felt, but this had the feel of New Japan versus WWE. And if New Japan lost the belt to a WWE guy, then that would pretty much cement that New Japan was doomed to be looked at as a very distant second. As it is, New Japan managed to stand tall. But that's not what I really want to talk about. Well, that's one of the things I want to talk about. Because you know, in your heart of hearts, there's going to be people that are on the WWE side of the WWE versus New Japan thing that bought New Japan World specifically to watch this match, to make sure they stayed up an exorbitant amount of time just to see one match. And when they saw it, you know they were rooting for their guy to win the belt, to prove that New Japan was nothing. Then you have those of us who are New Japan fans, and we wanted our guy to beat back the challenge of a WWE guy. Now don't get me wrong, because I know for a fact that Jericho has roots in Japan. I'm not taking that away from him. But I'm also not going to let Jericho forget this. He was the guy who, after he wrestled a match against AJ Styles on WWE show, he said, "Welcome to the big leagues." I.e. saying that New Japan and, well, obviously, okay, TNA, fine. But basically saying that New Japan, which is where it came from, where, by the way, AJ Styles held the Iwgp title. Think about it. So now, he goes to this company, and there was this match. And this match, you know, it probably meant everything to him to prove he was the best in the world. Well, we know now that's not true. Maybe in WWE's bubble now, he's the best in the world. But he can't say that when he loses to Kenny Omega. See, I'm going to state this, and I'm going to make sure there's no way you can read between the lines. I have no issue with Chris Jericho. However, if you ask me, do I think someone like Chris Jericho deserves all the accolades that he got? Let's be clear. When he was in WCW, they thought so highly of him. His highest belt, I believe, I think he was a television champion at one point. I know he's the cruiserweight champion. I think he may have been the television champion at one point. Yeah, they wouldn't let him anywhere near the US title or their world title. So he goes to WWE. He wins the undisputed title. The undisputed title. Yeah, undisputed. one of the companies was dead at the time. Undisputed my ass. And he holds like the Intercontinental title like 55 times. Okay. To quote Ron Killings, when he was shooting a promo on Ricky Steamboat on a TNA show, the Intercontinental title is for second-class citizens, Chris. So what does that make you then, considering that was the one you're probably the most known for? Think about it. Now think about this, buddy. And for all the people who are going to just, thumbs this video down because I'm talking crap on Jericho. I respect you for coming to New Japan again, facing Omega, and having one of the best matches of the night. But let me ask you something, Jericho. In a no DQ match, do you really need a friggin' ref bump? No, think about this. There's a match, it's no disqualification. I.e., you can't be disqualified for anything. There's a 10 count, or excuse me, a 20 count, but you can't be disqualified. So they have a ref bump. Like, why do you need that? I mean, the blood was cool. The ref bump I could have did without. So it's like, okay, fine. And there was some garbage stuff in there, like, I get it, there's no disqualification, and people say, well, if they don't do no disqualification, any, quote, no DQ stuff, I bring weapons into the ring, then what's the point of stipulation? I get it. And I get that they were making this match a real blood match, because blood was actually involved in the match. But at the same time, Jericho, now I'm guessing that him and Omega constructed this match together. But the needless ref bump, amongst everything, was probably one of the most damning things about the match I've ever seen. So, forgive me if, because of that, I can't give you the match of the night. Because you did some garbage stuff in there that I really couldn't get behind. The stuff that Skrull did, and that happened during the Fatal 4-Way, was actually clever. And plus, there was enough drama for me built in that match where there was a person in that match that even if I knew nothing about them, I'm actually going to go look up more stuff about them after I get done uploading this video, which is going to take about 5 hours now because it's going to be an hour-long thing. But I was rooting for this Hiromu Takahashi guy. I just wanted to see go away. Hopefully now, you go away and never, ever come back. But that's just me. Anywho, my friends, this video is 40-some minutes, and I had the phone ring. I apologize for that. You all have a good one. I will talk to you later. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Oh, real quick, before I forget. The next time we meet will be after New Year's Dash. Then the next time we meet will be after the New Beginning shows. So my friends, I will see you all after New Year's Dash. But I'm going to do that show in the afternoon because the time it actually comes on here is like 4:30 in the morning. I'm not staying up for that. I will stay up for one of those New Beginning shows because it's like at 1 o'clock in the morning here. So we should be fine. You take care. I will see you in the next video. Dear God, this one was long.